Welcome back to Mode and Muses. I know what you're thinking. Morgan, you started this and then you just decided to not post for 3 weeks. Okay. And so that I have to say, get out of my business. Today, I wanted to just chat a little bit about why I decided to become a realtor and why Austin was the city that I decided to do that in. If there's anything to know about me, it is that I love having opinions and I love sharing my opinions and I love judging. Okay. I listen and I judge. I look and I judge. It's just who I am. And maybe I can help it, but I don't want to. I had the experience of living in a bougie area when I was in middle school and high school. Although I was not bougie myself, I lived very close to some very, very nice houses. So once I got my license, I like to spend my free time literally just driving around. I am originally from Metro Detroit area, as I said the last time, and the city that my mom decided to move to was Rochester Hills. Anyways, in my free time, I loved driving around. I loved rating the houses, seeing what I liked, seeing what I would change. And I would even drive around with my mom. My mom loves interior design. She loves doing things to her house. And a lot of the passion that I have for houses and interior design are all thanks to her. I didn't know what real estate was in the sense of being a realtor. I didn't know that it was possible for someone like me. And honestly, I just didn't understand how you get to this point. But I remember when I first moved to Austin in 2018 and I was driving down Mopac, I started to think about how it was my dream to be driving around in my little blacked out car with my little blacked out license plate that says Mo sells ATX. I don't know how that would fit on a license plate, but trust me, one day I'll figure it out. Anyways, that is when my dream for getting into real estate really started to bloom. I was a little lost when I first got out of college. People don't tell you that people don't want to hire you. They tell you to go to college and it'll open up all of these career opportunities for you. But I was stuck in the service industry for a year and a half. Now, I have nothing against people who work in the service industry. I just personally hated working in the service industry, although I was good at it because I'm good at any job that I do. My older brother decided to get into commercial real estate when I first moved to Austin in 2018. So I kind of saw him going through classes, him taking his exam, and all the way through, he continued to tell me, Morgan, you would love this. You'd be so good at this. And I was in my young 20s. I kind of wanted to live life, be in tech for a couple of years, learn what the taste of a little bit of money felt like. But once I got laid off from tech in November of 2023, I decided, you know what, this is my time to make the pivot into real estate. And I am so happy I did. So many people will tell you that getting into real estate in 2024 was probably a horrible decision. And I get it. The market, honestly, even still is ass. It's not great. However, there's always people buying in Austin because there's rich people, there's people who are well connected. And honestly, I love this city so much. So why would I not want to sell it? Getting my license was tricky. I did graduate with my bachelor's of science in psychology from Central Michigan University. But when I tell you C's get degrees, I mean it. Okay, I am not a good student. I hate studying. I hate the process of somebody talking at me and learning. I am so much more a hands on learner. I like to see everything in front of me. And so having to take online classes over 600 hours worth and then taking two crazy hard exams was a little daunting. So it took me about 5 months to really get through my classes and then be able to pass my exam. I had worked with a lovely, lovely lady who used to teach real estate courses, and she told me that the best way to study for this real estate exam is to take nonstop practice tests and to not take the exam until you are passing all of them. Passing is, I believe, you had to get more than maybe like 76% or 72% on the exams. In Texas, there's a national exam and then there's a state exam. The national exam is a big one. It's like 200 questions or something like that. And then the state exam's only like 40. I passed my national exam on the first try, but I did have to retake the state exam, but I did pass that on the second time. I'm way happier at the fact that I passed my national exam because that was a hard one. And by the time I was done with the national exam, I just don't even think I was able to comprehend what I was reading on the state exam page because answering over 200 questions was so crazy stimulating and just difficult, especially because I'm really not great at math. And they were throwing me some hard math questions. But I studied super hard for 2 weeks, passed the national exam, spent 4 more days studying hard for the state exam, and then I passed it on my second try. So by May 11th of last year, I officially got my license and was hanging it up at a brokerage. How I found my brokerage was actually really interesting. So I had gotten into real estate, recruiting, and being an administrative assistant for a luxury brokerage that I will not name and I will not talk good about. But while I was recruiting, there was this one guy that I called, and he was actually nice. People in real estate hate when recruiters call them. And I get it. People have started calling me already, and I'm like, eh. But being a recruiter in tech, I was kind of ready for that kind of vibe. But this guy specifically was so nice and, was just kind and let me down easy. And that kind of stuck with me. And so when I was looking for a brokerage, I decided to reach out to him and be like, hey, are y'all hiring? And he was literally like, yeah, as of this week, I'm looking to add somebody to my team. Would you like it to be you? And that's kind of how I got into Spyglass. Love Spyglass. I love the amount of training that we have. I love the community. I am not quite similar to most of the people. I mean, let's be honest. I don't really fit in with the real estate industry as a whole. My slightly alternative, soft goth look, my strong opinions that I have about this world, my goofiness is really not viewed as valuable in the real estate industry. That's why I love being here, is because I am different and I can show people who hate realtors, hey, there are people like me who will actually care for you. And yeah, I wear all black, but at least I'm going to be stunting at every single house showing we have, okay? So I'm very thankful for Spyglass. I mean, it is such a great brokerage, especially when you are a newer agent. We have so many company lead avenues. We have weekly trainings. I am just really able to be a sponge and be around people who are really freaking good at this job. And I'm so thankful to have that opportunity. I really don't think that I would have the same experience in my first year of real estate. I don't think that I would have been able to sell 4 houses like I have already in my first year. But I'm excited to continue growing. And, there are some brokerages that I've got my eye on for when I have more of a referral based building business instead of having to fully rely on company leads. But, one day at a time, you can't plan too far ahead. Real estate right now sucks. So last year, August 17th of 2024, major laws and different rules for realtors came into effect. Honestly, it doesn't affect me so much because I don't know any better. I only had my license for a couple months before these changes happened, so it doesn't affect my business, but a lot of realtors are jaded right now. A lot of realtors are over the industry. They're over the National Association of Realtors, which I am too. I think it's a monopoly, but it is difficult. Interest rates are close to 7%. People are broke. Now, on top of it, you have the clown in office and all of these tariffs happening. You have people whose lives are at stake because we might be losing things like Medicaid and Medicare and free school lunches. And overall, people just don't have the freaking money to buy a house. Understandably so. But there still are people. And like I said, I'm thankful that I've already sold 4 houses in my first year. Some people don't even sell one house their first year. That doesn't mean that they're a bad realtor or that they're going to be a bad realtor, but it's really hard to find connections, especially the Austin market is filled with thousands of realtors, which is why I believe it's so important for people like me to be around, is because we are different. We do show a different side of the industry, and there's so many things wrong with this industry. It is honestly disgusting. It sometimes, if I think too hard about it, it really takes away like my zest for it, because I feel like I'm one person fighting against a huge mountain of bullshit. But that's why I think that me staying in this industry is so important. I have no reason to leave. I am going to be a realtor probably until, well, I'm hoping to retire. But until the day I die, because why would I not? This is such a fun industry. I love working with people. I love choosing who I get to work with, which is really important. And just overall, like, when I walk into a house, especially something with a higher price point, even above 700,000, I just am reminded why I chose to do this job in the first place. I was not meant to have a boss. I was not meant to go with the status quo. And I mean, shoot, today I woke up, I had some breakfast. I went to my little Zoom team huddle, my lead huddle, met with another business owner for a quick Zoom coffee chat. And then I just started making art and watching the Housewives of New York City. Now, that necessarily doesn't make me money. I was also prospecting, but that's the kind of schedule that I get to have because I get to choose it. You know, my weekends are busy. My weekends are my busiest days: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, also typically Thursday. I'm always doing something, whether it's open houses, prospecting, house showings, all of that. So it makes days like today, where I don't have a lot of work to do, I get to just do what makes me happy and do things that fill my cup. And that's so cool. It is difficult because being a first year agent, especially with company leads, your splits aren't really great. You know, I sold a house for 400,000. The 3% commission that I made on it was 12,000. However, after company splits, I walked away with 4,000, which 4,000 is 4,000. Don't get me wrong, but you just have to work a lot harder in this business when you're new. You have to prospect, you have to cold call, you have to do open houses, you have to go to networking events. There are things about the industry that I do think are dying. People would scream at me if they heard me talking about cold calling, but cold calling is a dying art. Like, yeah, boomers still answer cold calls and whatnot, but Gen Zs don't. All of my Gen Z clients that I've worked with, if I call them, they immediately hang up on me and then they'll text me. And I'm fine with that. I'm happy to do whatever my clients want to do, but I know that the people that I'm calling don't want to call me or don't want to talk to me, don't want to be called. And I'm the same way. Now that I'm a realtor, I get cold calls all the time. And you want to know what I do? I block their asses, okay? Absolutely not. So it's kind of difficult for me to do things like cold calling when I am so morally against it. Not to mention, you can really put your business on the line, because if somebody's on a no call list and you call them, they can sue you. And people are very, very sue heavy in this industry, both realtors and clients alike. And I'm just not trying to do that. There are people in Austin, realtors in Austin, that I really look up to, who get their business from Instagram and networking events. And yeah, content is hard. Content is a full-time job, even if you're like me and have 400 Instagram followers. But I would rather spend my time there and making art and doing things that are exciting and like actually reaching people than cold calling an expired list, TBH. I do have a couple people in my brokerage who are killer. I have this one teammate who literally calls like 90 people a day, and he is swimming in business so much that he started handing out people to the team because he just can't handle all of it. And I love that. And you know what? Maybe that's the smarter thing to do. But I didn't choose a business to have freedom, to not give myself freedom. I believe that there is so much room in every area of our lives, in every work industry, where we can do things differently than what other people and still succeed. I even think that I'm going to be more successful in a lot of ways because of the way that I view my business and the things that I have boundaries with. You know, I have certain boundaries around Mercury in retrograde. I'm not going to let my client write an offer and stuff like that. But you best believe if we have a closing date and there's a way that I can push it back or get it sooner in order for it to not fall during Mercury retrograde, hell yeah, I'm going to do that. The first year of being a realtor is tough, and everyone will tell you that. And also, everyone will tell you that the moment you get into your second year, things really start lightening up. And I'm really believing that. I'm not sure what this market's going to look like. We have Kesha putting out new songs. We've got recession pop all the way at the top charts right now. So, is there going to be a recession, a major recession? There might be, and I have to prepare for that. I'm just riding the wave. I'm really trying to enjoy the process. I'm trying to enjoy every day because I'm learning so much. Okay, so I didn't sell a house for 2.5 months, and it was tough. I was prospecting a lot. I was, at the office almost every single day, just trying to learn as much as I can. And I did learn a lot during that period. I learned a lot about me. I learned a lot about how important it is for you to have a good mindset and a positive mindset. And then all of a sudden, one day, I reached out to an old company lead and was like, hey, I think you might want this house. We went and saw it that day, put an offer out, and closed the next week. That was crazy. And that just showed me how fast, just like things can fall apart quickly in this industry, things can also come together. I got $2,000 from that commission that I wasn't expecting because I didn't have anybody in my pipeline. My advice to anybody who is thinking about going into real estate is, why are you going into real estate? Are you going into real estate to make money? Is that your sole purpose? Because if so, pick another industry. If you have really, really great connections and a lot of people in your sphere of influence who are looking to buy and sell, then okay, maybe do it. The reality is that this is a tough industry. There's reasons why people don't make it out of their first or second year and they quit before the second year, is because it's tricky, it's tough, it's not easy. Things don't get given to you. Even if you have a good mentor, especially right now in this economy, people just aren't buying. It's not how it was, even 10, 15 years ago, where house prices were somewhat decent and the interest rates were 3%. I don't know if we'll ever see interest rates be 3% again. What I will say is, if we do see interest rates that are 3%, house prices are going to skyrocket. So, like right now, for instance, in Austin, you can buy a house for $400,000. Back in 2021, the owners bought it for $550,000. The interest rates went up, so house prices went down. You want to buy houses when the interest rates are up, because the moment they come down, the house prices raise. So you can buy that $550,000 house for $400,000 right now. The moment interest rates drop, it's going to go back to $550,000. It is better to buy when interest rates are up, because you can always refinance later down the line if interest rates drop, but you still got the cheaper house price. Imagine buying a house for $550,000 and then having to sell it for $400,000, all because you bought and sold at the wrong time. It's so important, especially if you're somebody who has money right now, to buy. Just buy, honestly. Even if it's not your dream home, buy, live in it for 2 years. When the market gets better in 2 or 3 years, then you can sell it for a higher price, and boom, done. You killed it. That's just something that I wish more people knew, especially the people who have the funds to buy right now. I don't understand why they're not buying. And I understand interest rates are cuckoo bananas crazy. We might see lower interest rates coming. I know that the past month or so, 30-year 30-year conventional is sitting around 6.3%, which is honestly pretty good because last year we saw 7.3, but just do it. Just freaking do it. You're going to rent for another year. You're going to rent for another. We don't know what the market's going to look like this time next year. A recession might happen, everything may drop, but then everybody is going to be competitive and multiple offers, and you're still going to owe a lot in the house. So at the end of the day, if you're in Austin and you have the funds to, just buy a house now. Anyways, I didn't actually give advice to new realtors. If you are getting into this business for the right reasons, like it's something that you're passionate about, it's something that excites you, you love working with people, you love helping people do really cool things, then do it. I would be prepared, either save some money so that you can get ready for a year of choppiness, a year of heavily budgeting, or get your license while you already have a steady job. It is hard to do this job part-time. I have, thankfully, because I had my severance from getting laid off from tech, I was able to survive for almost a year with barely getting paid. I only made $27,000 last year. So be prepared to budget. Unless you're married to somebody who makes good money, it might not be the best to quit your job and get into real estate. I would try to do both for sure, or at least save up enough money in order to be able to focus on this full time, because the reason why it picks up after your first year and year two is because then you start getting referral business. So I have 4 buyers. It would be great if they sent me people, but once you start working with more people, they're going to have more people in their life who is also looking for a realtor, who is also looking to buy. And that's kind of how your business starts generating itself after you've been in the industry for a few years, especially if you're big on social media and have a good following and people like you, then it kind of all starts waterfalling. But up until you have that point, your job is prospecting, your job is cold calling, your job is open houses. Um, and you just have to do it. I hate doing it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm great. I don't prospect every day. I should, but I don't. I'd rather take continued education classes. But that's because the way that I envision prospecting is very different. But overall, I love working in this industry. I love having the freedom that I have. I love doing what I love to do, and that's having opinions and judgments and sharing them. I love when I am working with a good buyer like that, and we're just like locked in. It is so cool. I love getting to know people. I love becoming friends with my clients. I have these clients who live in the UK. I'm being their company's relocation director. They're moving here, or relocation realtor. They're moving here in the summer. And a few weeks ago, we just looked at like 15 different luxury apartments around Austin. And it was just so fun getting to know them, getting to know what they want. And with every house tour, I understand a little bit more about what my clients are looking for. And I'm able to bring them like, hey, look at this house. This is so fun. And I just love having the opportunity to do that. I love helping people. I love making money. I love building my own brand and building my own business. I do feel like I'm officially done building my foundation for my business and my career, and now I'm just building on top of that. I'm building an empire. I know how cheesy that saying is, but I truly am. And I'm just excited to see where it goes from here. I love I just love working. I love my job. I love the jobs that I'm going to have because I have this job. I love just walking towards my dreams and even living my dreams every single day. It's not lost on me that for years I dreamed about being in this position, and now I am, and that's sick. And I get to share it with people like you. Anyways, whether you want to go into the real estate industry or you want to be your own boss or you're just here for fun, Just remember that you are worthy of your dreams, that only you can really achieve them, but you've got this. You'll be able to do it. And you're one day going to sit back and look back and be like, I dreamed of this shit. I dreamed of getting to where I am today. And that's so cool. So have a great rest of your week. Keep being a baddie. I'll see you next week.